Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Arup, and I would like to welcome everyone on this session on Technathon 2025 on behalf of Wizklub Futures. So, what you see behind me is basically Technathon 2025, and this is one of our international competition that we are trying to bring in for the students up to grade 9. And I would happy to share also this Technathon 2025 is basically in association with STEM.org, and this is a platform where students of any grade of any board, it could be CBSE, state board, or ICSE, any boards across the country, can actually participate over different technical and robotics and coding competitions. You know what? Through this particular competition, this is a beautiful platform for every student to actually compete with other students across the same grade, across different grades, across different schools, across different boards. It could be the schools in India or it is schools in abroad, right? So with this note, I would quickly help you understand how the Technathon 2025 will look like, what are the different rounds that we have, how the competition actually follows, and on after that, I'll also help you understand how to register, how to basically participate in this competition. That's the scope of today's session. We will have a series of sessions on this, on upcoming steps, upcoming stages, across different stages. We would actually help you understand what to do and how to proceed with. So I would quickly like to take you to the screen over here. So you would have received a communication which says Technathon 2025, which is open up to grade 9 students, and which is an international competition. Through this competition, we are hoping that maximum students across the globe will actually participate and compete with each other with several technical, coding, robotics kind of competition basically. So what you do, you actually take part in different rounds. I'll help you understand what different rounds we have, what different stages we have. So first thing, what you see over here is you see a URL, you see a Wizklub.com page where you can actually register for this competition. Let me tell you, this competition is for absolutely free. Yes, you heard me right. Completely, absolutely free of cost competition for students out there. The objective of this competition is we want students to showcase their talents, understand, and basically work on different problem statements, the problem statements which are realistic, the problem statement which are solving some real world problems, right? So you as a student, you would be participating on this competition in several rounds. The very first round goes as an individual participation round, followed by which you will form teams, and with your collaborative skills, with your friends, with your colleagues, you would also take part in several project making competition as well. The projects which are going to be interesting and challenging as well. If you see, there are 3 rounds that has been mentioned over here. The very first round is basically prelims round is what we call it as, and this includes coding challenges. So again, we have got different categories of entries over here. There are 3 type of categories of entries. I'll explain that details once we look at the particular page. And of course, you have got second round, which is a project making competition, which is a project presentation round in the first phase. So on this presentation area, you are forming, you members would actually come together and you will be actually explaining about your project. While explaining, you will talk about what's the problem statement and what are we trying to solve, what's the real world problem that we're trying to solve, what's your approach technically, and how it is feasible in the society, how it is acceptable by the society. These are different points what you will be focusing while giving the presentation of your project to a jury member. Yes, you heard that right. So we'll have a jury member who would actually evaluate your presentation around the projects. There'll be different Q&As what will happen, which would be part of the second round. Then when it comes to the third round, which is the finale round, the grand finale round. Now, in this case, what happens is you will, the ones who are shortlisted from the round two, of course, you would actually build that prototype, build that project model with a working model, and you will actually showcase that to the presentation. I mean, to the jury members actually. Now, winners in the third round will be across the country, will be across the globe, and they will be rewarded with some exciting prizes over there. Yeah. So if you look at, there are three categories over here across the school level. There's a sub-junior category which is up to grade 5. There's one category which is from grade 6 to 7, and there is one category which is from 8 to 9. Okay. Now, if I come down to the different themes, project themes, which actually comes to the as part of the second round onwards. So different project theme includes smart automation. It includes fitness and sports, health and culture, heritage and culture, then agriculture and rural innovation, smart vehicle and transport, health and biotech, robotics and drones, tourism and clean and green energy, smart education, disaster management, and toys and games. So these are different themes that you would, along with your team, you would actually create projects. You will actually find out problem segment across the world, or maybe around you, around your school, around your society. You will find out problem statements across these themes, and you will actually prepare your projects around it. As I mentioned, like for example, if you look at smart automation, it could be something as simple as automating the households, automating the industries. Like it could be example from home automation or industrial automation, or let's say automating any kind of process with the help of technology out there, right? So usage of technology in terms of automating something which solves a problem basically. For example, fitness and sports. There are different projects which are required in the area of fitness and sports, and we are in a country which kind of we have got a lot of sports persons who are actually really doing well, and so there's a huge scope out there, and also people who are physically aware around the fitness. We aspire to do better in terms of sports and all. So having said that, different sports that we play, different outdoor sports particularly, it could be cricket, it could be badminton, it could be soccer, volleyball, any example out there. So while playing the sports, how can we professionally play well, and how can we play the game in the right way, right? So if you look at a problem segment like that, so the posture of a sportsman, if I'm, for example, if I'm playing cricket, how do I stand? How do I maybe take the position while I bat? Or let's say, how do I ball, right? How should be my arm movement? All of that can be also technically guided, right? So posture correction, or let's say, the speed at which, or the angle at which, probably I'm trying to ball, or let's say the way I'm trying to hit the shuttle while I'm playing, while I'm playing badminton. So all of these requires, there's a need of, understanding that how a player is actually taking a position, how the player is actually, playing out there, and those things can also be checked technically. We can use technology to guide us on how to correct our posture so that we play well, right? Heritage and culture. There's a huge, like being in India, we are a country with a diverse culture. So yes, how do we take that globally? How do we promote that? To think around, topic around that. Agriculture and rural innovation. There are many agricultural projects which are coming up, and of course, we do need a solution around that. And when it comes to that, different things like how do we save water? How do we, let's say, look at the soil quality and have a better harvest? I mean, have a better kind. I mean, we know the right crops that we're trying to grow. Or let's say smart vehicle and transport. Well, traffic being a larger problem in today's time. So how do we solve that? How do we automate, or how do we, let's say, use the concept of artificial intelligence or machine learning, in terms of making the traffic predictions better, right? And on top of that, how do we make vehicles perform better? It could be in terms of fuel economy. It could be in terms of how do we save the environment out of different emission norms and all of that. So we can think about those kind of projects over here. Health and biotech is a huge area out there. correct? So it could be anything, automating the hospital process, or maybe again back to the fitness band and all, but we actually using the data out of that and letting the person know what's going on correctly and what needs to be corrected, correct? Similarly, robotics and drones. So any kind of industries we talk about, any kind of plant setup or any kind of industries we talk about, these are the most essential requirements out there. How to, let's say if we talk about a food processing industry, or we talk about any kind of steel plant or any kind of manufacturing industries out there. So these are going to be the you'll get a wide use cases around robotics and drones basically. Tourism. How do we help the tourism improve in terms of technology, right? Clean and green technology. Of course, we are all moving towards usage of electric vehicles. We are all moving towards different sustainable energy kind of projects out there. The real world is moving towards that. Why can't we also contribute something towards that, right? Likewise, smart education. How do we make education better? How do we help children learn better? How do we, let's say, create a system which kind of guides the student how to learn or how to implement things in a better way? Similarly, disaster management. So if you look at the different states in India, they do have different uh, challenges, like atmospheric challenges, which causes or which leads to different type of natural disaster or any other disaster for that matter. For example, there are coastal areas which are hit by cyclones. There are areas which are hit by flood. Correct. So in certain scenarios, what could be our solution around rescue? What could be our solution around prediction of such things which is coming up? Right. So this also has a very huge scope of understanding things out there. Or let's say in case of a fire happens in some place, how do we escape from that? How do we evacuate from that safely? So without causing any kind of casualties. Likewise, there is an area of toys and games. So yeah, how do we use technology in terms of innovating the games which are engaging, which kind of uses the children to learn or acquire skill sets, correct? So having said that, so these are all different themes on which you can actually form your teams and you can actually think about it. You can brainstorm on different project ideas and be prepared while you're in the second round basically. Similarly, moving on, if I move on to the further parts, like if you see, well, this is a QR code which leads you to the website on which the detailed information is there, and you will be also be able to register through this particular QR code. While I'll actually go to the website and I'll actually show you how it actually happens. Similarly, there are certain rules for the teams to be created. If you see, while you are forming your teams, well, you should be a team of not more than 4 members in a team. Then your ideas must be original and there should be an innovation angle. So study the current solution that we have. On top of that, what else we can add on to, right? Solution must be feasible and implementable. Of course, the solution has to be realistic, and of course, there are different timelines what will actually come in, and we expect that you as a team you follow with those timelines. All right. So having said that, I'll move on to the website where we can see the details, where we can actually register, right? So if you see, this is the page URL which is actually mentioned over here. Well, I had it already opened in this screen, and the moment I land into Wizklub.com, either you click on the link and you directly land to the page, or you land into Wizklub.com. The moment you land here, you will see several options out here. Now on the top, if you notice, there are few options on the top, right? So there are few headers on the top, of which you can go to contests and you can click on Technathon 2024-2025. When I click on that, the page will take me to the Technathon 2025 page. Well, the QR code what was mentioned before, that will also take you to this particular page. Now when you land here, there are several options on the screen. First, it talks about the Technathon 2025, then what it is, different rounds what we actually follow, and different reach that we have, and here are different categories. So grade 3 to 9 of the students who are already part of the Wizklub program, for you can enter through this particular you can actually enter through this particular theme. The second theme is for students who are not part of the Wizklub program and you are from grade 3 to grade 5. You enter through this particular theme which talks about block-based program and programming quest, that is competition on different programming, or let's say programming fundamentals. The third theme is for the students who are not part of Wizklub program yet, but you are in the grade 6 to grade 9 category. For you, there's an AI challenge. Yes, there's an AI and machine learning based challenge, meaning you will actually participate on programming, and you'll also be able to answer questions which are around programming and which are also around AI and machine learning. Yep. So having said that, there are different buttons you will find on this page which will take you to the registration. So one could be, if you are part of the Wizklub program already, you can just log in, sign in to register. On the corner, we have a login button. We can use that. Or if you are part of, sorry, if you are part of the non-Wizklub students, and if you are in between grade 3 to grade 5, you have a register button over here. If you are again part of the third category, again you have a register button over here. In simple words, or if you can just navigate, I'll just navigate to the top, and you'll find out there's a register now button over here. Okay, so if I just zoom it in, you can see it like this. It says as register now, right? I'm going to click on this. The moment I click on it, I would be able to see. Okay, I'll click it again for you to see how it appears. If I click on this, it will ask me two questions: whether I'm a registered student, meaning I'm already part of some program in the Wizklub program, or I'm a totally new user. First, we will see if I'm a totally new user, then what to do. If I am completely new user, I'll come down to this, I'll select this particular new user category. After that, you see a box over here. The box will tell you, I'm going to zoom it for you so that you can see it better. Yeah. If you see the box over here, it says, please select your grade category. Now, when you click on that, you find there are two options, grade 3 to 5 and grade 6 to 9. So if I'm from grades 3 to 5, I'm going to click on the first one. If I'm from grade 6 to 9, I'm going to click on the second one. So for example, I'll click on grade 3 to 5. Post which, I'll click on the button which is register now. The moment I do that, the screen takes me to this registration page. The registration page talks about the competition, and this registration page also, because I am from grade 3 to 5, it by default shows Blockly Programming Quest 2025. And over here, what I have is I've got a series of, I've got a set of questions which I have to just fill, and I'll be good to go. And over here, once I fill my details, like for example, what's my name? If I have to choose a particular username, I'm going to enter that over here. Then it says which grade I belong to. Then I says, my parent details. It'll ask me about which school that I belong to. Then my school name. So we do have a list of schools over here. If you are outside the particular list, we can just enter the school name over here. Then, of course, an email ID and a phone number on which the communication can reach to you. Every updates, every communication can actually reach to you. That's going to be part of this particular form. Then I have an address. So geographically, which area, which part of the country, which part of of this particular world I belong to, that will be kind of entered over here. It says address line 1, address line 2, then there's a country, then there's a state, city, and the postal code. Once all of it is done, I'm going to click on the validate and submit. I have to, of course, click on the checkbox which says agree with the terms and conditions. Well, I'll quickly zoom it and show it to you. I understand this might not be visible in a better way, so I'm going to just click it and zoom it and show it to you so that you have a better visibility. Yeah. As I said, first, the student name. I'm going to enter one of my usernames over here. Okay, username that we want to create, basically. Okay, by the way, what will happen if I enter my name? So, for example, I'll enter my name, and I just entered my name as Arup. And the moment I do that, it will automatically suggest me a particular username. Either I go by it, either I go by the same username, or I kind of change it, the one which I like to have, and it will tell me whether it is available or not. Simple process, like very simple, normal process, how we actually follow in different pages. Okay. Then I have to select my grade. If I am particularly from grade 3 or grade 4 or grade 5, in this case, for the higher case, it could be 6, 7, 9, 6 to 9. I'm going to select my grade over here, and post which Okay, and I'm going to select grade 3. Post which I'm going to enter my parents' details, my first name and second name of my parents, and of course the school details and email ID and phone number, and of course the address over here. Right. So once I'm done with all the entries, I'm going to select agree with the terms and condition. Then I'll say validate and submit. The moment I do this, I'll receive a message with the credential which has been created. Yes, the system will automatically take care of the credential creation part and it will be sharing with you immediately. Okay, that is the case of a new user, completely new user, if you are not part of any Whistler program. Okay, now I'll help you out with the steps that we can follow for the students who are already part of some Whistler program. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I'll go to the Whistler page. Okay, I just opened wizklub.com, and after that, on the top right corner, I will be able to see a button which mentions as login. Please make sure I'm going to click on login. Okay, not in any of the buttons. All the existing users, you know how to do that. You know how to log in basically. So on that, the moment I click on login, one entry comes like this. I will enter my details. I'm entering my name. That's my username. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I had entered a wrong username first, which is why it was showing as incorrect. So I entered my username, then I'm going to enter my password. Post which I'll just log in. So it just validates, and once I log in, I land into this particular page, and this is how my landing page will look like. Well, guys, those who are new users, after you receive your username and password, you'll also repeat the same step, and you will land into a page which appears like this. Okay. Post which, what you can see is you don't have to click on anywhere. You just have to go to this corner. You can see a blue colored banner over here. Just come down to this particular banner, click on it, and you'll be already inside the Technathon page. So for the existing users, if you are already a Wizklub student, you are by default registered for this particular. Okay, so you will be able to see this banner which appears like this. All I have to do, like the further steps, all I have to do is I have to click on this. If I click on this, it actually takes me to the further steps. Like from here, I can either start my I can actually practice. So if you notice, there are several sections over here. Like I can see that which part of the which part of the Technathon entry that I have that I have landed to. I have got a practice resources. Yes, that means the moment your user IDs are created, once you land into this particular page, you will be able to practice. You can actually self practice yourself, and you can actually prepare before the first prelim round actually happens. And there are several other areas also where I will not cover that in this session. As I said, we will have a subsequent session on which we actually cover all these details of technicalities. After registration, what are we supposed to do, right? So having said that, I'll just go back to this particular page. So just to let you understand the different dates. So the registration, as you can see, the registration is already live. It's already active. You can actually come down to this wizklub.com page and register yourself for this Technathon event. And if you will have either received a direct link to the registration page, or you can just visit the wizklub.com page and that will actually show you. Apart from that, the dates are the the registration date before the prelim round actually. The registration dates are closing by 26th of January. Yes, by the Republic Day of India, we are closing the registration for Technathon 2025. So please register fast, right? So you are from any school, any board, either it's a ICSE, CBSE, IB, state board, any board in the country, any board, wherever you are at present, doesn't matter. You can actually, register for this particular program. Do register before 26th of January, and post which from 27th January onwards till the Feb 10th of February, that's the window for you to take preliminary test or the first round of test, right? So what I would request is the very first step is going to be the registration. Do register by 26 January. After the registration is done, once you land into the page, do practice. There's a set of practice sessions, practice questions what you actually go through. Do participate over there. Practice your practice before the test, and on prelim round there's a test followed by there's a piece of program what you write. So the first round will include what? The first round will include you completing a particular test, which is on this platform, on the Wizklub.com platform, what we saw. Followed by that, you will also be able to submit a program. You'll be given a question, and based on that question, you have to complete a piece of program. So your test, the test what you appear, that test result will be immediately published, while the program result will be published within a few days after the test has been, after the closing date of the 10th of February, basically. Let me also tell you the program that you are going to enter will be checked or will be evaluated with the help of artificial intelligence. Yes, we are using different AI engines, our own AI system to actually validate the entries what you actually provide as part of the programming part, right? So based on that, your prelim round result will be able to publish it towards the end of February. And if I talk about the second round, which is the presentation round, so after the end of February, you prepare your team members, you work on different projects that we saw over here, different project themes, what we actually saw over here, and then be prepared for the presentation round, which is the second round, approximately around end of March or first week of April, right? So will be allocated with a particular panel, and those panel members will be able to take your, will be able to, I mean, you'll be able to present your presentations over those panels. Post which the final rounds. So basically, on second round, we will have a short list, right? So whichever team performs well, whichever teams explains well, whichever ideas are the good ones or the innovative ideas, basically will be shortlisted using different parameters, and those finalists will be able to compete with the rest of the members in the third round, which is the final round. So when I say final round, which would be happening after a month or so. Once the April round is over, after about a month or so, the final round will actually be completed. So it is important that you please update your the phone numbers and email IDs correctly, so that any communication on different rounds or any communication on the results or any communication on let's say the updates, what's happening, what is coming up, right? So those things we can actually post it over there, right? As this particular session is happening, we will also conduct a series of such sessions at different stages on what to do next, how to do things, right? Where to get the help from. All those things basically will be covered over here. And yes, you will be also getting a certificate, a digital certificate, after you complete your round 2, right? So the certificate will have a mention of Wizklub and the STEM.org basically, and that you will be receiving it on your respective login credentials, and it will be shared with you. Well, that's it for today. And as I said, request all of you to register before 26th of January and start your practice assessments. We will have a short, similar kind of a call, similar kind of a session coming up in the next week, so that you will understand on after registration what to do, how to practice. All right. So that's it from my side, and thank you so much for your time, and see you soon in the next video. Thank you so much.